Welcome to Power in Words, a sanctuary where language transcends mere sound and becomes the very architecture of your soul. We gather here not simply to read or to listen, but to undergo a transformation of the spirit, a recalibration of the heart that begins with the most potent force in the universe, the human mind. You have arrived here because you are seeking something, perhaps a shift in perspective, a lightening of a heavy burden, or a reminder of the strength that lies dormant within your ribcage. You are in the right place. For today we embark on a deep exploration of a truth so fundamental, yet so often forgotten, that it holds the key to every locked door in your life. It is the ancient wisdom whispered by the Buddha, a directive that is as much a psychological law as it is a spiritual decree. What we think, we become. Let us sit with that phrase for a moment, allowing the weight of it to settle upon our consciousness. It is not merely a poetic sentiment to be printed on a card and forgotten. It is the absolute mechanism of your reality. Consider the landscape of your life as it stands right now. Look at your relationships, your career, your physical health, and most importantly, the quiet, private atmosphere of your own inner world. Everything you see, everything you touch, and everything you feel is a manifestation of thoughts you have nurtured, consciously or unconsciously, over the span of years. We often believe that we are victims of circumstance, leaves blowing helplessly in the winds of fate, struck by tragedies, or blessed by luck that is entirely out of our control. While it is true that we cannot control every external event, the weather, the economy, the actions of others, we possess a dominion that is far more significant. We possess the absolute authority over how we interpret, process, and react to those events. Imagine your mind as a vast, fertile garden. This is a metaphor used by poets and psychologists alike because it perfectly illustrates the neutrality of nature. The soil of your mind does not care what you plant. It is indifferent to the quality of the seed. If you plant the seeds of toxic nightshade, the soil will work with all its energy to produce a poisonous harvest. If you plant the seeds of majestic oaks or fragrant roses, the soil will work with equal vigor to produce beauty and strength. The soil does not discriminate. It simply says, yes. It says yes to your fears, and it says yes to your dreams. When you wake in the morning and the first thought that crosses the threshold of your awareness is one of dread, thoughts like, I'm too tired, I cannot handle this, or nothing ever goes my way, you are sowing seeds of weeds that will choke the life out of your day before it has even begun. You are instructing your subconscious mind to look for evidence of failure, and because the mind is a dutiful servant, it will find exactly what you asked for. You will notice the traffic, the rude comment, the spilled coffee, and you will say, "See, I knew today would be terrible." But this is a prophecy of your own making, a loop of confirmation bias that solidifies the walls of your own prison. However, the reverse is true, and this is where your power lies. If the mind can build a prison, it can also build a palace. The profound psychologist William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." This is the psychological bridge between the Buddha's ancient wisdom and modern science. When you choose to think differently, you are not just pretending to be happy. You are physically rewiring the neural pathways of your brain. You are carving new canyons for the river of your consciousness to flow through. It requires effort, certainly. It requires the diligence of a master gardener who must go out every single day, get down on their hands and knees, and pull up the weeds of self-doubt by the roots. You cannot just wish for a better life. You must think it into existence with relentless consistency. Think of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. I am not a creative person. I am not lovable. I am always late. I am bad with money. These are not objective facts. They are scripts. They are old, dusty narratives handed down to us by parents, teachers, or society, or perhaps formed during a moment of vulnerability in childhood. We repeat them so often that they calcify into what we believe is our identity. But you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. This distinction is the most important realization you will ever make. When you realize that you can stand apart from the chatter in your head, you gain the ability to edit the script. You can look at a thought of fear and say, "I hear you, but I do not believe you." You can choose a new thought. You can choose to say, I am growing, I am learning, I am capable of overcoming this. Consider the sheer resilience required to change a thought pattern. It is the hardest work you will ever do, but it is the only work that matters. When you are in the depths of despair, when the world feels like it is collapsing around you, the natural inclination is to spiral into darkness. To think thoughts of hopelessness is the path of least resistance. It is gravity pulling you down. To think thoughts of hope, of solution, of possibility in the face of disaster, that is an act of rebellion. That is true strength. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders, wrote to himself, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." He understood that the empire could be at war, the plague could be ravaging the streets, and betrayal could be lurking in the Senate. But his internal world, his citadel, could remain untouched if he guarded the gates of his mind. You must become the guardian of those gates. You must stand watch over your own consciousness with a flaming sword, refusing entry to anything that degrades your spirit or diminishes your potential. This does not mean we ignore reality or suppress our emotions. Toxic positivity is a denial of the human experience. We must feel our grief, acknowledge our pain, and validate our struggles. But once we have felt them, we must not set up camp there. We must not build a home in the valley of the shadow of death. We must keep moving. We must direct our thoughts toward the horizon. When you encounter a failure, do you think, I am a failure? Or do you think, this was a lesson? The event is the same. The thought is different. And because the thought is different, the outcome will be different. The person who thinks, I am a failure, stops trying. The person who thinks this was a lesson tries again with more wisdom. Thus, what they thought, they became. One became stagnant, the other became successful. Let us look at the concept of fear. Fear is the most powerful weed in the garden. It mimics intelligence. Fear tells you that it is keeping you safe. It whispers, don't write that book, you will be criticized. Don't start that business, you will go bankrupt. Don't open your heart, you will be heartbroken. If you listen to these thoughts, you become small. You become a shadow of the person you were meant to be. You shrink to fit the limited space that fear allows. But if you challenge those thoughts, if you replace what if I fail with what if I fly, you begin to expand. You become courageous, not because you lack fear, but because your thoughts of purpose are louder than your thoughts of panic. Ralph Waldo Emerson challenged us to trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. This requires a mind that is not shackled by the consensus of others, a mind that dares to think original, bold, and audacious thoughts. We often look at successful people, athletes, artists, visionaries, and we think they possess some special magic that we lack. We look at the external results, the medals, the acclaim, the wealth, but we are seeing the harvest, not the planting. We did not see the years of mental discipline. We did not see the athlete visualizing the perfect shot 10,000 times before they stepped onto the field. We did not see the writer staring at a blank page, battling the inner critic that screamed, "This is garbage," and choosing to write the next sentence anyway. Their external reality is a mirror of their internal endurance. They became champions because they thought like champions long before the world recognized them as such. They inhabited the identity of success in the privacy of their own minds, until the world had no choice but to catch up. You have that same capacity. It is currently sleeping within you, waiting for a command. You must understand that your life is a printing press, and your thoughts are the plates. If you do not like the story being printed, it is useless to try to erase the ink on the paper. You must change the plates. You must go to the source. This requires a level of mindfulness that most people never cultivate. It means catching yourself in the act of negativity. It means noticing when you are mentally rehearsing an argument with a spouse that hasn't happened yet. It means catching yourself judging a stranger or judging yourself in the mirror. In that moment of awareness, you have a choice. That split second is the space where freedom lives. You can choose to release the thought and replace it with grace. You can replace judgment with curiosity. You can replace self-hate with self-acceptance. This practice changes your physiology. When you think stressful thoughts, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases, your digestion slows, your immune system weakens. You are physically becoming the manifestation of your stress. You are making yourself ill with the phantoms of your mind. Conversely, when you think thoughts of gratitude, of love, of peace, your body releases dopamine and oxytocin. Your cells repair themselves. Your breathing deepens. You physically become a vessel of health and vitality. The connection is undeniable. As the proverb says, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. The ancients knew what modern neuroscience is now proving. Your biography becomes your biology. So, how do we begin this great work? How do we take the reins of this wild horse that is the mind? We begin with the small things. We begin with the language we use. The words you speak are thoughts made audible. If you constantly say, I'm killing myself to get this done, or this is a nightmare, you are instructing your brain to simulate death and terror. Change your vocabulary. Use words that empower. Instead of, I have to do this, say, I get to do this. Instead of, this is a problem, say, this is a challenge. It seems subtle, but the shift in energy is seismic. Words are the clothes your thoughts wear. Dress them in dignity, dress them in power, dress them in hope. Furthermore, we must curate our environment. You cannot expect to think high thoughts if you are constantly consuming low-quality information. If you spend your days scrolling through doom and gloom, engaging in gossip, and surrounding yourself with people who only complain, your mind will absorb that toxicity. You must protect your mental ecosystem. Read books that expand your understanding. Listen to music that elevates your mood. Engage in conversations that revolve around ideas and growth rather than people and pettiness. As you feed your mind with nutritious content, your thoughts will naturally become healthier. You will find it easier to think positively because you have a reservoir of positive references to draw from. There will be days when this feels impossible. There will be days when the storm clouds are so thick that you cannot see the sun, and the weight of the world feels crushing. In those moments, do not try to force a joyful thought. That is inauthentic. Instead, reach for the next best thought. Reach for a thought of relief. Reach for a thought of neutrality. Just finding a place of calm in the midst of the storm is a victory. You do not have to jump from depression to ecstasy in one leap. You just have to turn your face slightly toward the light. You just have to think, I am still breathing. I'm still here. I can take one more step. That is enough. That thought is a lifeline. The transformation we speak of is not a destination. It is a journey that lasts a lifetime. You will never finish working on your mind. The garden will always need tending. There will always be new seasons, new pests, new droughts. But as you practice, you will get stronger. You will notice that the weeds are easier to pull. You will notice that the flowers bloom brighter and last longer. You will begin to walk through the world with a different posture. People will notice a change in your energy. They will be drawn to you, not knowing why, but sensing that you are a source of light. You will become a magnet for opportunities because you are no longer repelling them with a frequency of lack. You will vibrate at the frequency of abundance, and the universe will respond in kind. Remember the words of Henry Ford, who revolutionized the industrial world. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. This is the ultimate decree. The universe is waiting for your command. It is waiting to see what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are a victim, the universe will confirm it. If you believe you are a creator, the universe will hand you the bricks and the mortar. You are the author, the protagonist, and the narrator of your existence. Why would you write a tragedy when you can write a triumph? Why would you write yourself as the villain when you can be the hero? The pen is in your hand. The ink is your thought. The paper is your time. As we move toward the close of this meditation, I want you to close your eyes for a moment, metaphorically or literally, and visualize the version of yourself you wish to become. See them clearly. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they handle conflict? How do they love? That person is not a stranger. That person is you, waiting to be unlocked by the right combination of thoughts. That person is the statue waiting inside the block of marble, and your thoughts are the chisel. Every time you choose courage over fear, you chip away a piece of the stone. Every time you choose love over hate, you reveal the masterpiece within. It is a slow process, often painful, often lonely, but it is the most noble work a human being can undertake. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of your own mind. When you heal your own thoughts, you heal your family. You heal your community. A person who is at peace with themselves brings peace to the room. A person who is filled with self-compassion is capable of deep compassion for others. By changing yourself, you quite literally change the world. You become a lighthouse in a dark ocean, proving to others that the rocks can be navigated, that the storm can be endured. You become living proof of the Buddha's promise. So let today be the day you draw a line in the sand. Let today be the day you evict the mental tenants that are not paying rent, the doubt, the shame, the guilt. Let today be the day you decide to become the master of your own house. It will not happen overnight, but it begins with a single conscious decision. A decision to monitor your inner dialogue with the ferocity of a mother protecting her child. A decision to feed your dreams and starve your fears. A decision to believe, even when there is no evidence, that you are capable of greatness. You have everything you need. You are not missing any parts. You are not broken. You are just temporarily disconnected from your own power. The power is in the pause between the stimulus and the response. The power is in the silence where you choose your next thought. The power is in words, the words you speak to the world, and the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. Hold fast to this truth when the night is long. Hold fast to this truth when the road is steep. You are what you think. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your bank account. You are the living, breathing manifestation of your consciousness. If you want to change your life, you do not need to change the world. You only need to change your mind. And once you change your mind, you will look out and realize that the world has changed with you. It is brighter. It is kinder. It is full of infinite possibility. The horizon is open. The garden is waiting. The seeds are in your hand. What will you plant today? Your life is the physical manifestation of the thoughts you choose to dwell upon. If this message awakened a spark within you, we invite you to like and subscribe to Power in Words. Join us and let us continue this journey of transformation together.